So I woke up this morning to find myself lacking a shirt. And I know that I went to sleep in a shirt. And then I vaguely remember waking up and it was hot as dump because I guess the weather decided to not be too bad. And I had my heater on from the previous night because the previous night was cold as dump. So then I took off my shirt. Then I wake up and I can't find my shirt anywhere. So alas, I'm doing this video shirtless and I can't find my shirt. But this is Omega Pro, and this is Ask Omega. Alright guys, so Ask Omega is a series where you guys ask me questions and I do my best to answer them. It's been on hiatus for a while, but let's bring it back officially. And that way we can get more questions rolling. In my last video with the update and stuff like that, I said that Ask Omega was coming back, and I got a few questions, and that's what I'm going to be answering for you guys right now. So if you guys have any questions you want me to answer, leave those in the comment section below, and I will be sure to get to them. So without further ado, let's get on with this. Mr. Dylan 000 asks, how did you start watching The Walking Dead? Well, it started off with me hearing a lot about The Walking Dead, and everyone's like, Ermagerd, The Working Dirt is so freaking great in every way, and Ermagerd, The Working Dirt, and I'm like, it's probably something that's stupid with just has the zombie gimmick in it, because zombies was really popular at the time, and still is actually. You know, you got your Left 4 Dead, that's very popular, Killing Floor, anything with a zombie really is extremely popular. And everyone was going on and on about The Walking Dead. And one fateful day, I saw that it was on Netflix. And this was back in my no-lafing days. So I just was like, yeah, I'll give it a chance. So I started watching it a little bit with my brother. And then I never really followed up on it. I was like, yeah, whatever. And then one day, I got extremely, extremely bored. And then I started watching it again. And it was amazeballs and blew my mind. Not oral sex either, like with the gun. It's blew my mind and shot it in the place where thinking happens and emotions are kept. Yeah, that's what happened to me with The Walking Dead. Metal Sonic Dash asks, what are your thoughts on Mega Man X? Now, I can't recall if I've ever played a Mega Man X game. Are the Mega Man X games the one on the Super Nintendo? If so, then yes, I have played them. I actually played them on the stream. I think. I'm trying to think. Was that Mega Man X? I think that's Mega Man X. I'm relatively sure that's Mega Man X. But if it is Mega Man X, then it's very fun, very challenging, and it pisses me the dump off. But yes, Mega Man is a great series. I just recently started playing them on like streams and stuff like that. But they are pretty fun, and they do stuff to my genital region as well as piss me off. So there's that. Bob, that's a really cool name. I'm surprised you got that. I'm surprised nobody took that. Anyway, he says, hey Omega, are you still doing that new series with the video game characters? And what about how to get better at Halo 4? So the series he's referring to, if you guys don't know, is a series where, you know, I get these action figures and I have the story planned out for it. And basically it's me living with video game characters, except instead of, you know, actual video game characters, they're just like toys. But for the sake of the show, they're the actual video game characters. Anyway, I think I'm gonna be putting that off on hold for a little bit until I get things, you know, sort of running. One major thing is that the star of the show, his knee broke, and that would have been Shadow, but his knee broke, and you know, I can't use that. And I really wanted to get a better camera to do it as well, just so it has that extra, you know, film kind of look. I don't know, though. I'm going to put it off on hold, but I'm not going to forget about it, you know. I might, like, one day just bring it out randomly and then see how people react to that instead of trying to hype it up again. I'm just going to just sort of bring it out when I feel it's ready, and that's what's going to happen with that. As for how to get better at Halo 4, I worked every day last week, so I wasn't able to really play Halo 4 and edit the videos down and commentate over it and stuff like that. I don't know when I'll be able to get out another how to get better at Halo 4, but I will be working on it. I have people asking me how to strafe and how to run away from battles, how to survive, and stuff like that. And that's probably what the next one's gonna be about, is like strafing and or how to survive and stuff. And I think that's gonna be really key. And you guys will see that when you see it. Zora Inc. asks, Omega, if you didn't have YouTube, what would you do? And are you going to play any Steam or Source games? Well, to answer the first question, if I didn't have YouTube, I would kill myself. Well, I guess that all depends. Is it like YouTube gets taken away from me one day and then I just don't have it no more? Or is it more like YouTube was just, never there for me? If it's the first one where YouTube gets stripped away from me, I would probably go insane because, I got myself into this lifestyle. I got myself into this groove where I'm on YouTube each and every day for hours upon hours. And if that gets stripped away from me, then, what does I does, I don't know what I would do. As far as if it were to never be a part of my life, then it's just not a part of my life. And I would probably be doing something else, like, I don't know, hanging out with friends or something stupid like that, you know what I'm saying? But to answer your second question, yes, I will be playing Steam and Source games. And luckily for you, the gameplay you're watching is a Steam and a Source game. It's either going to be TF2 or CSGO. I want to put CSGO gameplay, though. And yeah, that is that. Orange Apple, contradictory right there, but Orange Apple says, ask Omega. You can answer this if you want, but what do you wank to? Just curious, by the way. Now, this is fucking weird. This is very weird, but I wank to pornography. I am a person. I don't wank to any one pornography. I'm not like, if it's not a redhead chick, I done fap. If it's not an Asian, I done fap. I'm acceptance of all forms of that particular media. Matthew Santos asks, I know you like anime, but did you ever watch Full Metal Alchemist or Brotherhood? Because I'm now done. Do you watch any other anime besides Naruto and DBZ? Yeah, I do watch other anime, or at least I watched other anime. I don't really have enough time to get into any anime these days. But yeah, Naruto and DBZ are not the only things in my life, believe it or fucking not. But yeah, I did watch Full Metal Alchemist, and it is probably my favorite anime because it's that fucking good and it's awesome, and you guys should watch it if you get the chance. And yeah, you will love yourself if you do. Captain Planet X asks, would you be willing to have guests, loyal, civilized subs, to join for short periods of times during your streamed discussions? Now, if by stream discussions you mean me, Stormpow, and Toasty, then no, because that's just us. That's the Derp Circle. That's a podcast, and that's just not going to happen. As far as it's just for me, then maybe, possibly, yes. But the problem with that is, and I've stated this issue before, the problem with doing things with subs is that they just don't know how to act when they're in a Skype call or when they're in the presence of you. I know that there's some subs that can handle it fine, but the problem is trying to differentiate the subs that can handle it and the subs that can't. And there's no definitive way to know. So really, when I'm bringing people in, it's a huge risk because it could tank or it could be really successful. So I don't know about that. If it's somebody that I know for a fact that comes to the streams a lot and or whatever, then that's a possibility. But as far as like, okay, I'm going to start taking random people into Skype calls, so yeah, let's do this, that's probably not going to be happening. XX Red Zebra says, how did you guys come up with the name for TDC? Also, for the emulator stuff, you could do Pokemon Battle Stadium 2. Is that what it's called? I thought it was just called Pokemon Stadium, but okay. That's a possibility on that Nintendo 64 thing, but yeah, now I got my mic situated differently. So if you guys heard that, I apologize. But how did I come up with the name for TDC, or how did we come up with the name for TDC? It was actually Toasty. So this is how TDC originated. I don't think I've actually shared this story, but I wanted to start a podcast with Toasty for the longest time, but we couldn't find a good third person. And Toasty also at the time said, oh, I don't really want to be into a podcast or whatever, for whatever reason. I don't even know, but I really wanted to start a podcast because that would be something that I'd really get into. And then on one fateful day, of course, we all hooked up with Stormpow, not in the sexual way. Yes, in the sexual way. But we all, me, Toasty, hooked up with Storm Pal, and I sort of like pitched the idea for the podcast, and we were trying to think of a name, and me and Toasty were in a Xbox Live party chat, and we were just trying to make up a name, and I forgot how he came up with it, but he basically just said the Derp Circle. I think it was because at the time I was saying like derp a lot or some shit like that. I'm not even sure, but Toasty might be able to tell you guys. But he came up with the Derp Circle, and thus the Derp Circle was formed. So I came up with the idea, Toasty came up with the name, and Storm Pal was sitting there looking like a 6-year-old. So that's what happened. Joe Poop says, if you could pick a franchise to make a game for, what will it be and why? And if you were to ask me any other day, I probably wouldn't know what it would be, just for the plain fact that I don't know. But since playing Sonic Generations and saying stuff about how Sega, you know, their recent Sonic games haven't been that good, I would say I would want to make a Sonic game because, you know, as a longtime fan, as an avid fan of Sonic, I know what people want in Sonic games. I know what I want in Sonic games. So I would be able to recreate that and hopefully put Sega back on the map and recreate that old spark of Sonic versus Mario, because that's what it used to be back in the day. It was like Mario or Sonic. You know, do you have a Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo, whatever? And that's what went down. But for me, I was always a Sonic guy, so I would want to recreate Sonic. And the last question for the day, this one's going to get kind of deep, but it is from Brandino117 Spartan. And he asks, how would you break up with a girl without hurting her feelings the best way you can, or as best as you can? And here's the thing. Dependent on how she is, if she's the type of girl, if she likes you a lot, she is going to get her feelings hurt no matter how you break up with her. You could say, fuck you, bitch, it's over. Or you could say, I'm sorry, there's another girl. Or I'm sorry, I just don't feel the same way about you anymore. No matter how you go about it, she is going to get hurt. And now, I'm not a Dr. Phil, okay? I'm not going to sit here up on YouTube and be preaching like, oh, yes, you should do this because I have experience with that and I am the greatest. No. I'm saying that you should probably ask somebody that knows your situation a little more. But just for me, if I had to break up with a girl, I don't know, man, because hurting a girl's feelings makes me feel like shit, because I sort of pride myself on being a nice guy, and then, you know, I'm just like, oh yeah, by the way, bitch, fuck you. That's what girls think when you break up with them, even in the nicest way. And I'm not saying all girls, because there'll be some girls that will understand, and of course those girls that understand still get hurt because, you know, they had feelings for you, obviously. But the way I would do it, you just got to be understanding, and you got to be honest. You got to say exactly what's going on. You got to be like, well, if you do like this girl and you want to remain friends, obviously you would be like, I'm sorry, I just don't feel the same way about you anymore. I don't look at you in that way anymore, but we can still be friends or whatever. And, you know, think about it as if she was breaking up with you. And if she said that to you, how would you feel? If she said, oh, we can still be friends, you'd probably be like, fuck that, I don't want to be friends. I want to touch your booty all day. I don't know if she's going to be wanting to touch your booty all day, but it's going to be something sort of like that. Like, I don't want to be your friend. I want to be with you. So I just don't know what I would say. Try to be as nice as possible. Say exactly how you're feeling, and hopefully things will go your way. I'm bad at this stuff, so I don't really know. Just try your best to convey your emotions correctly without coming off as a dick, and maybe things will happen that are good for you. And best of luck. This has been your friendly neighbor Omega Pro for this episode of Ask Omega. Leave those comments down below if you have any questions you want me to answer, and I'm out. Have a fantastic day, everyone. So I just have to cut in here really quickly. I just got a comment on my YouTube video as soon as I finished recording of another question that I thought was worthy of just throwing in another segment. But this is from Master of Gaming, and he says, hey Omega, I just got my new job, and the very first question the employer asked me was, how do you define teamwork? So I'm asking you, Omega, how do you define teamwork, and what does it really mean for you as a man in the workforce? Well, first of all, I just wanted to say that I think anyway, the workforce is no big deal. Depending on where you work, of course. If this is more of a career job, then yes, it does really matter. But if it's just sort of a retail job or whatever, then there isn't really too much teamwork going on there. People are just showing up, they want their paycheck, and then they go home. That's essentially how things work in the real world of the workforce. It's not like everyone in the store is like, yeah, teamwork, I'll help you, you help me. It's more like, yeah, we show up, we get our paychecks, and then we go home. And that's essentially how it is. But teamwork for me is very important. Teamwork is about not being selfish. Teamwork is about thinking about the other person. Teamwork is about wanting to help the other person, or in this case your teammates, because you want to help them and not necessarily benefit you. That is what teamwork is to me. Teamwork means that you care about a teammate enough to deal with whatever they have to deal with. You know, their problems become your problems, and you tackle those on together. And teamwork is just you letting your pride down, just sucking up your pride and doing what needs to be done to help out your teammate. And also what teamwork is, though, is the expectancy of the other person to do that for you. If you're the only one doing that, that's not teamwork. That's just you being taken advantage of. However, if the other person is reciprocating what you're giving to them, then that becomes a teamwork. Then you guys are a team. And especially if it's more than another person that's on the team, that it gets harder at that point. But if it's true teamwork, then you'll know if you need help with something and you don't even have to ask for it. And I mean, there'll be some teamworks where you do have to ask for it, but you know that they'll always help you. Teamwork is important, and teamwork means that you help another person not for the gain of yourself. You help another person for the sake of helping them. And that is what I think teamwork is.